You.
No, go on, you. You can expect about 4 hours of cracking telly.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, I guess. A deeper look into Cary Grant's life and his childhood, and then how that affected him going forward.
Very nice. You should do voiceovers. It's the story of the most famous man in the world for 30 years, who was beloved, worshipped, fancied by lots of people, and who, how none of that tells you anything about him, how tortured he was from this terrible abusive childhood he had, and how it destroyed his relationships, and how he wrestled with all that and tried to come to terms with it. But this particular time in his life where he meets someone he is again in love with, becomes his fourth wife, has a child with, and all the various... what happens when you peel the layers back on people that look like they have shiny, perfect lives?
Well, Jeff optioned Diane's book, and I suppose Diane is the person closest to Carrie who can tell his story. So her story is in there. It's predominantly Carrie, but I think Diane was able to tell Jeff things that no one else even knew about Carrie's childhood, particularly the episode 1 and 2 stuff, and it was hugely formative to Carrie's life. So yeah, Diane was a huge part of making this happen. It helped me hugely getting to know Diane, and I definitely felt a responsibility to make real Dyan Cannon happy, but at the same time, we were doing Paul and Jeff's take on things, so it was a bit of a balancing act. But I have to say, Diane was incredibly supportive and understanding of that fact. So she was sort of happy to let me go with it.
Yeah, no, Diane was phenomenally trusting and vulnerable. She spent a lot of time talking to both of us, telling us things that made our hair curl, and some of which ended up in the story, some of which didn't. But Jennifer, Carrie's daughter, is also an exec on it, and for me at least, I had to go, I've got to let go of the fact that this might upset her. She's his daughter. She met him when he was 61. He had her, but he was a very unhappy, troubled, tortured, sometimes angry man with tremendous dis-ease with himself. He took acid hundreds of times with the doctor to try and somehow calm the storms in his head and heart, and that destroyed his relationships, and that I knew some of the things we said or did would upset his daughter. And for me, at least, I had to go, I can't take that on board.
I mean,
she's chosen to be part of it. But Diane was not bothered by those things because she told us most of it.
It's extraordinary, really weird situation to have to see your parents' relationship unpicked like that, and that it's a strange position for them both to be in.
A beautiful relationship with her dad. He was a devoted dad. He was not many of the things that we portray in the show. Well, I'm not playing an actor. I'm playing a man, and he's a man with carrying some very open wounds, and who struggles in himself. Is sometimes able to be charming and lovely, and is beloved by everyone, and that makes him feel more hollow. And who, born in 1904, so a very different era, and the 60s are happening to him. It's not the world that he's part of, and he finds this young woman he's besotted with, partly on the rebound from terrible rejection from Sophia Loren, and I'm just playing a man, and he goes to do his job as an actor. That stuff I know about. That I've done. He was a carnival barker. He was a stilt walker. He sold ties on the street. He was starving. One of the things you can't really convey, you can convey poverty a bit, but he was hungry a lot of the time, and that never left him. And so he would pick up food when, he was a very wealthy man. He'd pick up the leftovers from breakfast and put them in the fridge and make sandwiches for lunch.
And he would still, when he was very famous, collect coupons. Like, it never
That's
left
right.
him. He was still really frugal when he was like the richest man on the planet.
Yeah. It certainly wasn't the beautiful sets, because we were in Liverpool next to an open sewer. Or a sewage factory, weren't we? So it wasn't that.
Yeah. I think Jeff's scripts are incredible. The story itself is incredible. That was the big draw for me. And, I was luckier that, the weight of the icon wasn't so much on me.
It was. I wouldn't have played Cary Grant. Frankly, the first time I heard it was around, I thought, you'd have to be an idiot to do this. But I knew Jeff Pope wasn't an idiot. So I read the script and went, oh, he's not Cary Grant. It's about the man when he stepped away from work, and he was nothing like that. And that's the same. It's always the same. It's a chance which we get rarely to play such complex characters in completely recognizable situations. Where, in a marriage that maybe was never going to work, and they tried to make work and wasn't going to. And it's a journey. I mean, he's on a mission to try and heal himself, and in some ways he gets there, and that's a story worth telling. Well, why should anybody watch anything? It's really, Jeff Pope's a fantastic writer. He's got a long track record of telling stories in an interesting way. And the world is full of people that we think are shiny and perfect and have everything we want. And it's good to be reminded that they don't, and that the important things are how we deal with the baggage of our past, and so that we can live a decent present.
Very well said.
Thanks very much. My God.
Anything else?
What did I just say?
Just what he said was great, yeah.
And she's in it. She's awesome.